Hi everybody, welcome back. So today I am going to be building onto the doll's house. If you have not seen any of my previous videos, I am currently busy with a Barbie's house series where I am either revamping my daughter's doll's house or I am making stuff to put inside of it. So what I want to do today is I actually want to do a fish tank. I've never done this before. It was just an idea that came to mind and I thought it would be pretty cool to try it out. So what I'm going to be using is a resin mold from Craft Buddies. I'm going to be using some of their UV resin. It's in a packet because I was traveling with it. Some people have asked me why I keep this on it. Honestly, there's no reason whatsoever. I just didn't take it off. So there's no actual reason for that. I'm also going to be using a heat gun. We're going to be using some vinyl decals, obviously our UV lamp, and some beach sand, and possibly some pearls. So we've got a lot going on. I think it's going to be a pretty simple project though. I hope that I can make it into a full video for you. I do like the idea though, and I do think that it's something that we can all do, so it is a pretty simple craft. So I'm excited to see what everybody comes up with. We're going to jump into the design aspect of it quickly, and then we will start on our building of our fish tank. For the design portion of this project, I had to think sort of outside the box, and I did have to edit the designs quite a bit. So I'm just going to run you through what I did. So I have inserted, let's start again. I've inserted a square, and I have changed the square to 6.5, which is the size of our mold that we're going to be working with. I then changed that to guard. So this is something that I do in all of my videos, and I find it very helpful. Then I went into my images and I searched for fish. And there are so many images that you can choose from. It actually did take me a very long time to figure out what sort of fish I wanted to go with. You can use any of them. You can just use the same basic concept that I am working with. So as you can see, I didn't use this fish, but I kind of like this fish, and I think I might just change to this one. I think I might. Okay, so I added in the fish. What I did is I duplicated it, and I'm going to use the contour function. We're going to hide all contours, and we're going to just have the piece that we want. So let's contour that again. We've still got the little dot. There we are. So this we can change to another color. So I would do this with the holographic sort of blue. I think it's called opal. And that's going to give us our inside of our fishy. So what I would also do is I would contour the bubbles out, because you wouldn't want your bubbles to be black. We can then duplicate this. And what we would do now is we would actually add an offset. So we're going to add a negative offset of 0.0, let's say 002. Let's see where that leaves us. Let's apply that. We can actually delete that. And then we're going to add another offset of, let's say, 0.03. Let's say 4 actually. And we could apply that. So what that's going to do is that's going to give us dimension. So remember, what we're going to do with our design is we're going to be layering it inside of resin to sort of give us that 3D effect. So this will help us to get more of a 3D effect. I did the same thing. You can see each of my different items has more than one layer to it. You can do as many layers as you want. We're going to try keep it semi-simple. I think it is going to be really cool to see though, and I do hope it works out. I've never done this before. So the fish that I put at the back, those I've just done a single layer because those are kind of fish in the background. I think I want to get rid of these guys, so let's just move them with all their millions of layers across. And let's see, so oopsie. Yeah, I do like that fishy more. Angelfish, he's pretty. Okay, so we're doing an angelfish. So as you can see, each of them has more than one layer. Wherever possible, I have welded things together. So a lot of our stones, I've tried to weld it together. Some of the stuff we're going to have to do with tweezers, some of it we're going to be able to do with the transfer tape. It is going to be very difficult to work with because it is inside of a mold, so we don't have the same working surface that we would usually have. I do also want to add in some sand, like some real beach sand, and maybe some pearls. I'm not sure. So I don't think there's much more that I can tell you on the design. Basically, what you're going to want to do, so as you can see, I have made a small boo-boo with my other circles. Where are they now? Why can't I find them? So there they are there. So what we're going to do with these is we're going to add an offset of 0.005. Let's see, and let's apply that. So that's going to give our bubbles some dimension as well, which obviously we want. So the last thing we can do is we can go to our color sync and make sure that we have just the colors that we basically want. So this should be black. There is going to be a lot of black. Maybe I should make the angelfish another color, or maybe I should make the fishies in the background. I'm not sure. Okay, so what I do want to do, I do want to change the inside to a different color. I don't want it to be the same as the blue bubbles. Oopsie, okay, fishies in the back. I think that's actually fun, to be honest. Maybe the fishies in the background should be pink. I'm not sure. Let's see. No, I like the black. So the black works well. So we can just double check that our design fits inside the 6.5 by 6.5, and it does, and we can go ahead and cut that. So we're going to use all of our basic settings that we've always used. We're going to use the premium vinyl setting, the holographic setting for the holographic vinyl. Where I've got red, it's actually going to be the sort of red holographic. So the coral is going to be like a nice red holographic. And again, remember, everything has more than one layer except for the stuff that is falling into the background, which is our beautiful fishies in the background. So let's get to making this. Okay, so you've seen the design. So now we're going to get to putting everything together. So I've already cut it. I've done it on the premium vinyl setting. I have all of my little vinyl decals here. I have cut and weeded it, so you don't have to watch me doing that. I didn't cut the stones though. I have a better idea. So let's see if that works. So the first thing we want to do is we actually want to create a base layer of our resin. So all we're going to do is we're going to pour a bunch of resin in here. So I do have another bottle. I think it might use quite a bit of resin. We basically just want a nice base layer on the bottom. Oopsie. Okay, we're going to use our heat gun to get rid of the bubbles. The reason we're not using a lighter is because we don't want to melt our resin mold. So that is something to just be mindful of. You don't want to melt your resin mold. The great thing about this is if you do get some bubbles, it's not really going to matter because you are kind of making a fish tank which has bubbles in it anyway. So we are going to plug our UV lamp in. Oopsie, sorry. Okay. And we're just going to let that dry. So while that's drying, what we're going to do now is we are going to mix some beach sand with our UV resin. So we are mixing a little bit of beach sand with some UV resin, and this is going to be used for our bottom of our fish tank. So I'm just kind of thumb sucking how much we're going to need, and we do want to try keep it away from the UV light. So as you can see, I'm adding my UV resin, but we are going to keep it away from the UV light. So I do want it to be quite loopy, and you'll see why. Okay, let's wait for this to dry and then we'll move on to our next step. Okay, it looks like it is dry enough to move on. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the white parts of our little corals. So we've got to find that quickly. And for this I'm going to be using my tweezers. Now I'm going to try and take it from the top. So as you can see, I have a very small space to work in, so it's going to be very difficult for me to kind of get transfer tape in there. So let's see, can we get this off? We can. Okay. Okay, so we want to hold it from the top. That's going to give us a bit of control in terms of where it gets placed at the bottom. So I hope you can see this, but we're actually going to place it at the bottom, like so. It's quite tricky. Okay, and then we're going to just press it down. And then we're going to do the same on the other side. Make sure there's no dust. So it doesn't really matter that I'm touching the back of the vinyl, because we are going to seal it basically. Should we just get it in there like so? And you can see there are bubbles, but it's completely fine once again. I do have my design open on the laptop, so I am looking at it every now and then just to see that I'm not going wrong. And this one is trickier, so this one I'll hold from the bottom because we want to get this sort of up towards the top. Like so. Okay, so we have our first layer. What we want to do now is our little concoction with our UV resin and our sand. This is going to be quite difficult because we don't want a lot. So I'm going to get an earbud. Sorry, a toothpick. Okay. So what I want to do is I just want some for the bottoms, or for the bottom, should I say. Okay, let us see if we can get it right with the spoon. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a quick dry. Move that so it doesn't dry with it. Yeah, that should be fine. We just want it hard enough that it's not going to move. Yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so now we're going to put our next layer. And this is what we hope is going to give us that 3D effect. And I think it's going to work, to be honest. I really think it's going to work. So we don't want our layers too thick. Just like so. Give it a quick heat with our heat gun. And that's just to get rid of any bubbles, and then we're gonna let it dry. So we're gonna let that dry, and then we'll do our next layer. Right, now we're ready for our next layer. So our next layer is a little bit trickier because we now need to line it up. So we can't just kind of do it how we did it last time. We've actually got to put some effort into getting this nicely lined up. So I do think we need to get the top first. I'm actually not entirely sure, but let's see how we go with this. Oopsie. Look how cool that looks so far. Like the fish look like it's behind it. Can you see that? I don't know if you can with the camera, but I can see the fish look like it's behind it. I think that's pretty cool. Okay, so then we're going to fill in with our beach sand again. Just a little. We just want to hide the little bitsies that we don't want to see. And we can actually put our first layer of our fish, I think. Because we've got so many layers for him, we should put the first layer now. Okay, now we're going to fill it again with another layer. So the heat is going to remove as much of the bubbles as possible. Okay, and we're going to let that set. So I think what I'm going to do for the rest of this is I'm actually going to do like a little, what do you call it? Like a time lapse kind of thing. I think that's what it's called. I think that would be pretty cool. So I think you've got the general idea. Each layer is basically going to be on a new layer of UV resin. I'm also going to add in these little pretty things to the sand. And I'm going to add in some little baby pearls as well. Can you see those? So pretty. So I think I'm going to do like a little time lapse, and that's going to save you a bit of time watching me put it all together. Okay, so we have all of our little bits and pieces on. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cover up what we need to with our sand. And this is where we get to have some fun with our little pearls. So we're going to layer those in now. Okay, we're going to let that dry quickly. And I think I'm quite happy with that. Let's just get our last little bits in so we can make it look like it's hiding in the sand rather. So So I don't know if you can see, so it is lifting a bit, but that's fine, we'll fix that. So I don't know if you can see that kind of 3D effect that's going on. So we're going to finish it off now with 2 more layers, and then we will be done with it. So because this is such a deep cast, what we're going to do is we're going to do the water method. We're actually going to pour water into our mold, like so. And we're going to let it go a couple times. We're then going to pour the water out, and we're going to demold it and see where we are with it. As you can see, I am also just giving it some UV light from the back end of it. I think we are ready to demold it though. It feels pretty dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour our water out back into our container. Okay, it's still a little bit sticky on the back. See, that shouldn't be there. And then we're just going to trim down the edges here. Maybe not by my fingers. Okay, so it doesn't look like much now because we're not done with it, but this is all I'm going to do for this video. So in my next video that I do with the fish tank, oopsie, we have a piece stuck here. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a little stand for it so that the edges are hidden and it's going to look more like a fish tank. And I think it looks really cool. So you can see it's got that sort of 3D effect going. It does look kind of messy right now because I'm not done with it. I do think I want to sand down the back a bit, get rid of all of this, and then give it another coat of UV at the back. It's taken me about 2 hours to do this, so it hasn't really been super quick. I'm finding some pieces that still need trimming. So I can now get on with designing a frame for this, and I think that's going to be another probably hour to half an hour job on its own. So unfortunately that will not be in this video. Sorry, I'm just busy trying to cut this. But I'm definitely going to get it done because I really do like this. I think it's really cool. And I love how it looks like a proper little fish tank, like it's proper 3D. So I'm going to have to finish this off in another video. I know there's a lot that I could have done differently. I don't know why. Unfortunately, it did start to curl, as you can see. So that did pose some problems for me. But I will definitely sort that out next time. So there we are. Can we see that it's like kind of 3D? There we are. I'm definitely going to sand the back down with water sandpaper, and then give it another coat of UV just to get rid of these marks from where it lifted. But I think it's going to look really cool in the end. I hope that this video has given you some inspiration. I know that it's an incomplete video, but obviously ideas change as you start to work on whatever it is you're working on. sometimes things don't work out and you have to just recoup and think of a way to make it work out. So that's where I came up with the idea of doing a frame. It just helps, oopsie, we lost some light. It just helps to hide some of the imperfections. I think that is it for tonight. I think the light was our cue. I will see you all again very soon. Thank you so much as always for watching, and I can't wait to see you again.